Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Matt Bernier, the DRFBets race of the day for Friday, January the 4th, race number 8 at Santa Anita. Calbred allowance horses, older ones at that. And it's a pretty nice field for race number 8. They're going 6 furlongs. You can bet the card with a new DRFBets account. Sign up at bets.drf.com. Receive a 300% deposit match. Let's meet the field for Friday's DRFBets race of the day. You can access free formulator past performances on the race of the day event page at drf.com. Download them. Handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, beginning with the longest shot on the morning line. That's the number 1 Plain Wrap, 1 for 26 lifetime. But this horse has caught some runaways in his last 2 races. This is a kind of horse that likes to run second and third, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he could hit the board again. I think a win might be out of reach.
Yeah, agree 100%. I mean, you look and see 8 times second or third from 26 lifetime starts, turning back in distance. But you brought it up. You could make the serious argument, and I think it's the accurate argument, that he's faced the best horses in his most recent starts. His most recent one, King Abner, came back and was the next out winner with an 87. 2 starts back. Surfing Star, the winner that day, came back and earned a 96. Avanti Bello, we know what he's capable of on his best day. So this horse has been facing some really salty ones. The problem is, again, he's just a bit of a nibbler, and at 6 furlongs, I can't help but think he's going to get outrun in this spot. Maybe he comes along and can get a piece of this thing at a square number, but I don't like him on top.
Interested in your thoughts on the 2 Tanner's Pride, who just couldn't make a dent at this level. He's had several chances over the last 6 months or so at this level. They dropped him into an open condition claimer last time out, and he ran okay, kind of his usual race. What do you think of that move? He's now back in for the allowance, which I guess is good. They don't want to lose him, but I've been disappointed in the lack of stamina in his last few races.
I'm a little bit torn overall because, like you say, they threw him into the N3L race most recently, and at face value, I go, well, if you can't get that done, how are you supposed to get this
good field
done
though
here? I was going to say, and the other problem that I have, and I understand that the top 2 finishers were both next out winners with low 80 buyers, but at a certain point, don't you just look at it and say that the horse kind of is what he is? And I agree with you. I think he's nice. The stamina has been a bit of an issue for him, and that's at 6 furlongs, heck, even shorter at 5.5 at Low Sal. 3 starts back. To me, he's the kind of horse I'd be using him underneath. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him on top.
Up next is a lightly raced 5-year-old named Leroy, who got a pace last time out at Los Alamitos, but came with a good, solid, belated rally. And all things considered, in his first start off a 5.5-month layoff, that was a promising performance for Leroy. He's going to need some pace again in this spot. I think he should get it.
Yeah, to be fair, really, that's the thing that bothers me the most about this horse is just his running style. I'm not sure that that's necessarily ideal for Santa Anita, especially at this distance. But if he gets some pace to run at, I think he's going to come with a late run. The trainer does very well with this move. Past 5 years, dirt second after the layoff at Santa Anita, 4 for 15 with a 460 ROI. I just like what I've seen from his races so far, going shorter on dirt. And he didn't run terribly in those 2 races going down the hill, but I think this is what he wants. I think he takes a step forward here. Again, the problem is I just don't know that running style is necessarily conducive to winning.
The 2 Tanner's Pride and the 4 Old Indian Trick are the only multiple winners in this field. Old Indian Trick won first off the Jack Carava Claim 2-back, going 5.5. He got a competitive Buyer's speed figure that day, pressing the pace and then holding on gamely. They tried turf last time out. I don't think that's his preferred surface. The question I have for you is, do you think he's a need the lead type? Because I'm not sure he's fast enough to make the lead in here, but I do like his recent dirt numbers.
I got to be honest with you. I don't think he's one of those horses that's dependent on it. You go to that run, 2 starts back, he sat just off of a target, and then go back to his first career victory. I know it was in maiden 50 Calbreds, but that was at Los Alamitos. And he was about a half length off of it. So if you believe there's going to be some speed in here coming from someone else, whether it is Tanner's Pride, whether it is one of the horses toward the outside, whether it's Cyclometric or whatever the horse's name is on the far outside, I'd imagine he has the ability to at least press. And at that point, I think you just kind of hope that maybe it's an instance where stamina doesn't work for some of these horses. And I like the fact that, look, the only time Carava's run him short on dirt, it was a win. I think this is what he wants to do. I think he fits in here really well.
Manoso is another sort of mid-pack to late runner. He outfinished Leroy last time out at Los Al. He did get the jump on that horse turning into the lane. He's sort of a mid-pack performer. And again, his buyers in his last 2 races are solid. Give him a hot pace. He'll probably come with a good, honest late run. For me, price has got to be your guide. 8-1, 9-1. That's fair. That's what he's been in basically his last 2 non-stakes race appearances.
Yeah, to be honest, I would rather have Leroy simply because that was his first start off of the bench, and I think he's going to move forward. Whereas Manoso, I think you kind of know what you've got here at this point. You're probably looking at a high 70, low 80. Don't know that's fast enough to win, maybe enough for a small piece.
Cyclometer made a promising debut at Santa Anita back in mid-October. This is a 4-year-old who didn't debut until then, so he's probably had his share of physical problems, and now the fact we've got another 2.5-month layoff after that race is a little worrisome, but he's also a late foal, and maybe it's just taken him a while to get right. This is a horse that's got some tactical speed, stepping up against winners for the first time. I'm a little bit dubious about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, there's a number of things kind of working against this horse, but at the same time, on the flip side, you can look at it and say, a lot of these horses that we've seen, none of them are real killers. And I do wonder if a horse like Cyclometer, perhaps it's just one of those instances where this is the right opportunity or the right spot for him to take advantage, taking on winners for the first time. I do find it interesting, and again, I know there's politics and whatnot and who rides what, but Giovanni Franco has ridden Clyde's Pride, who we'll talk about here in a moment, in every one of his starts. Now all of a sudden he jumps over to Cyclometer, who he also rode in that only start to date. So perhaps that's a little bit of a telltale sign that this one is actually the choice of this rider.
Not a bad replacement for Franco on the 7, Clyde's Pride. Joel Rosario takes the mount for Jerry Hollendorf for positive formulator fact for King Jerry. Past 2 years, older dirt sprinters, third off the layoff, 39% winners, 309 ROI. This horse did a lot of the work at Los Al in that December the 9th race, and you could argue that maybe he set things up for horses like Leroy and Manoso, and that as the odds-on favorite that day, he had the worst of it. His race 2 starts back, big number at Del Mar when he got to the lead. The question is, how much pace pressure is he going to face from the layoff horse, the 8 Raul Rosas? We're going to take a look at the Timeform US pace projector right now.
I was going to say, really, that's kind of what, to me, what this race boils down to. Do those two on the outside hook up? And if they do, I think it sets an honest pace for everyone else, whether it is a Cyclometer sitting just off of it. Even if it is a horse like Tanner's Pride, who I may not love in here, but I think he could work out a decent trip if those outside two hook up. There's also the part of me, though, that is concerned on the other side of the coin, saying there's a scenario where maybe Clyde's Pride is just simply too fast. And I understand the pace projector has the 8 actually out there clearing off. I do wonder if Clyde's Pride runs back to that run most recently, or heck, even some of those runs. I know they were on turf and going longer, and it's hard to really equate that. But he went 23 and 46 on the grass going long. This horse has got legitimate early speed. I think it's going to be up to Rosario to make a play, depending on how he breaks. I don't like that he lost at 3 to 5. But I think he is interesting as far as the speed is concerned. And a big question that's going to affect the pace projector as well as the entire race is whether the 8 can still run. He's only raced once in his career. It was his 4-year-old and career debut back in July of 2017. He ran a hole in the wind that day, an 87 Beyer speed figure, ran away from the rest of the field in the stretch, and he's been gone for a year and a half. Who knows what you're going to get from the 8 Raul Rosas? I'm not sure what we're going to get from this horse at all. I'm expecting we're going to see a little bit of speed, but boy, a prolonged speed off this kind of a layoff is worrisome. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's a very positive situation that this one could be walking into. But at the same time, if you just want to look at it and say what he accomplished in the career debut, and then you see what some of the horses that he beat that day, like you say, this horse was almost 6 lengths clear. The runner-up came back in his next start. I know it was a million years ago, but he came back and earned an 89 Beyer. So it's not like he was beating a bunch of bums. The 7th place finisher was the next out winner with a 76. If he can still run, he's the most likely winner of the race, in my opinion. I just have no idea what you're going to get. Let's take a look at our top picks for race number 8 at Santa Anita, the DRFBets Friday race of the day. You're going to go with the 3 Leroy, hoping a fast pace, maybe the 7, the 8, the 4. They set things up for the closer. He's still fairly lightly raced. Maybe he's got a forward move. Yeah, I don't have a really strong opinion. I like the fact that this thing could set up potentially for him if it does end up being a barbecue on the front end. I don't like his running style here as far as this track and this configuration is concerned at 6 furlongs, but at the same time, I like that he broke his maiden here in his career debut. I think he's going to get some pace. That little formulator number, second off the bench, maybe he's not the most likely as far as win contenders are concerned, but I think he's going to come with a run, and he should be a decent number. I'm hoping Old Indian Trick can slot in behind the 2 outside horses, sit a good tracking trip in third, get the jump on everybody turning into the stretch. Getting back to dirt might be the key. I don't think he liked turf in his most recent start. I'm going 4, 8, 3, 7 numbers. Again, very sort of blah. I don't have any strong opinions in here. 3, 6, 7, 8, but in a multi-race, I got to go deep. Very competitive race. Friday's DRFBets race of the day. Bet it with a new DRFBets account and the 300% deposit match that comes along with it. Easy sign up at bets.drf.com. Approximate post time for race number 8 at Santa Anita on Friday, 4 o'clock Pacific. Best of luck.